Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coach Confessional. My name is Lee Bergen, and today I am not joined by Amanda Tress. However, I am joined by a very special guest who is a guest in our studio today. Her name is Mindy Lawhorne, and today Mindy and I are going to talk about a lot of things.
Let's do it.
Mindy, what brings you here today to our studio?
First of all, I'm thrilled to be here. I came from Texas to work out with you guys, to see a little bit more about the faster way in corporate office and see how you guys really work.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot today.
It doesn't take much to find out much about us, right? What you see is what you get. It's an honor to have you here, Mindy. How long have you been a fitness professional?
I got in fitness, really started working out when I was 16. I was real tired of being chubby, and I thought, I'm going to do something about this. Probably got certified my first time at 18, taught my first class at 19, and I've been teaching ever since, training. The little fitness presenting, some video stuff, things of that nature.
She's downplaying her exceptional.
No, really.
I mean, really, you have such a great reputation that precedes you. I have known about you and followed you for a long time. So tell us a little bit more about how many people is the most people that you have ever taught at one time?
Oh, you mean like in a class?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple hundred.
Couple hundred?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was always like for a big event or something.
Yeah, a couple hundred. I think that's huge.
It was so fun.
It's so fun.
So fun.
But you're a little bit of a celebrity as well. Come on, don't be modest.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you a celebrity? How have you?
Well, I don't really know. I don't really think of it that way, but I had the great pleasure of being cast in some videos. Years ago, we did videos through a company called Beachbody, but it was before you could even be like really in that business. It was more when it was just P90X was starting, and I had worked for a company called Powder Blue Productions, who Chalene Johnson owned. I was one of her top presenters. I traveled around the world teaching people, a bunch of her videos, but Beachbody was coming about, and they were taking her Turbo Kick, which is an in the gym kind of workout, to a home version called Turbo Jam. And I was the modifier, which you would think that would be so lame and boring. No, it wasn't. Because they had to call out Mindy all the time. They had to point to Mindy all the time. And I was like, I got you. And that's kind of what I began with, as far as, I guess, starting with, videos and things like that. It transferred into a video called Pyote, Turbo Fire. But I started, I guess, with that. That's probably what began it. And then, of course, we had this little thing called MySpace back in the day. And that catapulted into us, into the very next thing.
So this is a really clever way for me not to ask you how old you are.
I'm seasoned.
So I think that
I'm wise. I'm very wise.
Yes, your wisdom does say a lot. But I think that's the point here, is that you have been in front of 200 people in person, but you have been in front of millions in their homes. And that's a big deal. This is the kind of thing when people see you, they recognize you. You have made an impact in people's lives. And that's what we're trying to do here in the Faster Way. We are working out with people in their homes, and we connect with them. Social media now, unfortunately, MySpace is a little bit retired, but unfortunately I say, but
space.
But now that we have Instagram and we have Facebook and we have these other platforms, we do have real live connections and communication with all of our clients. So it's a little bit, it's personal. It's a lot personal.
Well, and it's so much more fun because we can reach so many more people. So back before we did that, it was person to person. Yeah. It was either people I trained or people that you would come to my classes. Yeah. And you and I discussed, we were teaching 20 plus classes a week, which is, by the way, don't do that. I don't recommend it. But like, that's how we saw people. And then when this whole sort of, internet thing came out, we realized we could reach so many more people, and you can still have that same connection. And I love what Faster Way's doing. And yes, I have that background, but I mean, like, what's the future? I think this is it. Faster Way blows my mind. That app alone it's phenomenal. It is so brilliant, and it's so simple. I mean, that's why I'm here, because I'm amazed at what you're doing.
Well, we appreciate that. And we want to continue to bring people who have energy and experience like you. Amanda has done such a great job of being innovative. And I think and I'm 51, okay, I feel like maybe you're close to that.
I'm 51 as well.
See, we're twins. So I feel like maybe people have this kind of idea that, and I think our age, maybe it's just me, that there's only one way to do something. I think the innovation that Amanda has brought into the picture is a brain space that we don't necessarily have. I'm like, it's fine. My VHS still works. What's wrong with my VCR? I can hit play.
But
I can make this
DVDs are
work.
still perfect.
Exactly. I did have I had some Beachbody videos, and they were in a visor in my car and they got stolen.
What?
Isn't that crazy? This was back in 2000.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was a bummer. But so then I never did that again. So anyway.
It was God telling you, don't do those anymore.
Stop doing that. But here, as we are in this age, and I'm a single person, and I was going to change my Instagram to mid-century single because midlife, that word is a trigger word for me. But I like this mid-century kind of a thing. But here's the deal. You're gorgeous and you are in shape. And it's not because you taught 20 classes a week, right? It's what you've got behind your eyes. It's this idea of how much more is there. And I know that those of you who are listening to us thinking, okay, well, this is just where I'm at right now. This is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to end. Yeah.
No. I refuse to believe it.
How do you have this attitude?
I don't know, because I think I should probably tell you a little bit of what God has allowed over the last few years. I was a single mom years ago, and I went to a funeral. It was a private plane crash, and it was a horrific thing in the small town where I was from. And I went there as a single, what I thought loser, because I was divorced, and just went back for the family. And I met the most amazing man at that funeral. And I was married to him for many, many years until he passed of cancer 5 years ago. And so, speaking about what you're saying, yes, some of us have a history in fitness, but I think regardless of what your background is, I had to come to grips with, well, who am I now? And what am I going to do? Am I going to just be done with life? Because a part of you thinks, what else is left? And then there's another part that I know is telling me you've got to keep moving, and your story might help someone else, as other stories have helped me. And realizing that, God, that stinks. I don't like any of it. I don't like it for my boys. I don't like it for myself. But I think we've got to make a decision on, well, what do I want for the rest of my life? And who am I, and what is my purpose in life? And it's much bigger than I'm supposed to be a fitness person. I think I'm supposed to share it with every person in the whole world. I believe I'm supposed to share my faith with people. And I can't do that wallowing in my own sorrow. Also residing to the fact that I'm in my 50s and that I should no longer be fit or take care of myself. And that is a lie. And I think that is really the biggest picture, or the biggest reason why I'm here and why I want to keep going. While I do want to keep taking care of myself, and it's not just for how it looks on the outside, but I know who I am on the inside, and that I feel like comes out. But I want to help people feel the same way and know that regardless of what's happened to you, there's more to the story.
Correct. It is just, thank you so much for sharing that and being so vulnerable, because I cannot imagine those. I just can't.
I don't want it for anyone.
And the resilience, I think that God has given us is just shows over and over and over again. And that resilience looks different almost every time we bounce back. And, so many people come into a program like the Fast Away, or they sign up for something because they're looking to change who they are on the outside, or they're looking to change or to be like somebody else instead of really trying to look for themselves on the inside. And then let the side effect of the effort of cleaning that up and being exactly.
Well, here's something I found, that when fitness, and when I say fitness, I mean doing your best
to stay well.
Just stay well. So it's wellness, but fitness to me, in my mind, is all the things. It's my spiritual side. It's my nutrition. It is how I move my body and how I work out my body, but it's sort of all the decisions I make. So I want a fit life, right? And what's interesting about all that is, it's like when fitness becomes personal, then it follows you through all kinds of times, all kinds of sad times, all kinds of changes. It becomes so personal, it's ingrained in you, just like brushing your teeth, or like Let's hope. But like brushing your teeth, it's just like paying your bills, all the things. That's part of what you do. Well, this is part of what I've done. And it's done nothing but supported me.
Right. And it's also part of who you are. People ask that all the time. Like, how do you stay in shape? How do you put your nutrition first? How do you, just like you said, we're not thinking twice about it, but it didn't happen overnight.
No, and it wasn't like that. I grew up chubby.
Yeah.
Like
so
I still dream of cheese. I love cheese to this day. I love me some cheese. But, I still think about, but it's like when you make a decision over and over again enough, I feel that if it has roots to as to why you're doing it, not just because I'm going on a cruise or I got a wedding or I want to look good for this person. It's much more of who I am. But here's what I've also found out within this. When you look believable, people are so much more willing to listen to you. And it's not that I do it because I want to look a certain way, but if I go to a marriage counselor, I hope they have a great marriage. And if they don't, I've got questions. And I think that trickles over into sort of what we're doing. And not that it has to look a certain way, but I feel like you feel when you meet someone what it is that's about them. You know what I mean? People don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And there's something, and it has something to do really with size, but there are success leaves clues. And I think there are clues with people that you're just like drawn to and they're likable and they're believable. And even if they've had a hard story or whatever, you see there's more to them than just that one thing. And I think when it gets ingrained in you and it becomes a part of your lifestyle, that's when everything changes. Because it's the compound effect.
And you don't have to think about it. You're free to think about other things and you're free to think about all of the things that you can do and what your purpose is and how to live out that purpose. And you're not stuck in the box of cheese.
Oh, gee, give me some of that cheese. But it's also like, it's never like just all or nothing, 80-20-ish. Although I don't keep the percentage, on my things I do, but you can better believe I have a drink every now and then. You can better believe I have me some cheese. But it's also one of those things like, what do I want for my life? If we are a product of our choices, and we are sitting here right now, we are a product of our choices in every aspect, financially, relationshiply,
Yeah, that works.
Our spiritual life, our physical life, our wellness, all of that, there is a compound effect that leads to the product of our choices. And here we are.
Yeah. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. So your choice when you were in high school to get out of the chubby space.
And it was a pretty...
Talk about that.
Well, it was vanity, to be honest.
Yeah.
I grew up the last of 5 kids, chubby, nerd. I was in band. They were all like cheerleaders and pretty and whatever. And I just really wanted to be cheerleader because they all were. I didn't want to be the only sister, right? That wasn't. I know that's silly, but we all have our reasons and our own dreams. But I knew that I would have to like jump off the ground to do a jump. So I should probably lose a little weight and learn how to jump, right? But it grew something in me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually like this.
Wow.
I actually love fitness. I kind of am interested in kinesiology. I'm interested in the biomechanics, which sounds so nerdy and weird. But I found a few things to be true. I wasn't really that great at a lot. You know what I mean? Like school I was never amazing at school. I would just make fun of myself so that everyone would laugh.
I got that.
You know how that goes? Very self-deprecating, but it was funny. But then I was in band. So like my skills were, I could talk to anyone. I could move to the beat of the music. I was the last of 5 kids. When you grow up in a house of 7, minimum of 7 people in the house, everyone always had a friend or a cousin. You had to be loud to be heard. So I had that. But then I liked fitness and I'm like, God, how can you mesh all these weird characteristics? I'll never have a job. Oh, contraire, mon frere. I found out, oh my gosh, those are exactly the requirements you need for fitness. You have to really need to be able to talk to people, like them, motivate them, move to the beat of the music is helpful.
A little bit.
Right? And love the body. And like to me, the body's just the coolest thing ever. And of course, what God has done and how everything repairs the psycho. It's just, I mean, it's not psycho. It's just amazing. And so I got really into it and I thought, well, the only thing I'm even halfway interested in is that fitness. So it started because I wanted to be cheerleader.
I love it. And I think that's big because I think that no matter whether you're 18 or whether you're 80, when people are fearful to start something, okay, you weren't fearful, you were ready. But what happened to you was that you fell in love with it. And I think that all of you who are waiting on the sidelines, waiting to start, waiting to get into it.
You got to give it a minute.
You might love it.
Well,
You
and
just might.
well, it is. And when you get it into it thinking I get to do this, or this is cool, or I love how it makes me feel, instead of the reverse, which is I have to do this. I got to get through it. Oh, I don't want to do this. The more we tell ourselves I don't want to, the more we don't want to. But if we could just flip it and go, I'm just going to do it. And in the beginning, when I worked out, I would do it like after school, and I had a cassette. Okay, here comes the old girls.
Did it have a Velcro?
I had a cassette, and it was a Sony, was a yellow one.
Yeah, it had Velcro.
The one everyone wanted.
Yeah, it did.
A little thing. But I remember when I took my cassette and I flipped it and went through it, I had walked about 3 miles.
Oh.
So I started with walking.
Yeah.
Because running hurt. And
Yeah,
so I started walking.
yeah.
So I went from there, which makes that sound so old. But I started just getting into that much. Well, then that started to make me feel better. And it didn't just make me feel better like physiologically. My mind, I started gaining confidence.
Right.
And I didn't feel like the chubby band girl, the chubby, nerdy, loud band girl. And it started to develop something in me, you know what I mean? That I feel like has transpired over all of these years. And yeah, I may not know how to do that, but I got this. I can totally do this. So it's almost like I had to get in it and just step into it to do it, almost like lean into the fear. It's not that I was so scared. I just thought, oh my God, I hope no one sees me walking. You know what I mean? They're going to think I'm so dumb. I'm not in basketball. I'm not in volleyball. But I found out, wait a minute, this is actually something really good. And then you know what else I had an epiphany about? Pretty sure God gave it to me. Everyone's always going to need fitness. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I mean?
That's not going out of style.
That's not going anywhere.
That's not going out of style.
And if you think we know everything, then why isn't everyone doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, why isn't everyone doing it?
Well, there's a lot. That's a whole nother podcast.
Well, right. And then walking, though. I mean, literally, you just
No, I started with walking. And then I kind of went to the gym a little here, I didn't know what I was doing, little here, little there. But it just transpired into that's not only what I want to do, this is who I want to be. I feel like, and I started teaching fitness classes and I taught step. And I loved it. And I had a leotard on, and I am not ashamed.
But just in jest. But I think that it's important too for people just to recognize, just start somewhere. And no matter how we look on the outside, that's not an indicator of our happiness.
No.
That's the other misconception, I think.
But things will catch up eventually. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when people do say things about people, age, people are with our wisdom.
With our wisdom.
Oh my gosh, you are that age. And I'm always jokingly going, well, there must be something to this fitness thing.
Right.
Maybe there's something to it.
Right. But we're pioneers. I mean, there's not a lot of people in front of us, and the ones who are still doing fantastic. I just think Jane is amazing right now. So this is the kind of thing too, I think that people need to remember is they say, well, how do I get like you? And they're not going to walk next to us. They need to walk behind us and start and recognize that we started somewhere from this. We didn't wake up like this.
Well, and I mean, there's so many variations of our whole story because I've had 2 children. I get very big when I'm pregnant. I mean, big and juicy, girl. Big and juicy. And then you have to work all that out. And then, of course, after my husband passed, I mean, I just was miserable. And grief is so physical.
It's so physical. And that's another, I guess, it's a hole that people fall in because they're going to fall into different holes in their lives, right? And so grief is a pit that you do not expect, and just like a sickness, the same. Yeah. But the grief is such an emotional, it's just so emotionally damaging that it does take over your body at the same time.
It does. And it just affects so many areas. And that coupled with maybe age, and that coupled with maybe already sort of borderline hormone imbalance, borderline, perimenopausal, things of that nature. But I think one of the things I want to be sure to be clear about is that all of this that we're talking about, like all of this story, what we want to do, first of all, is just be an encouragement to you. No one is like the thing. No one is, at the pinnacle. We all still struggle, and we've all come from something. My biggest hope for what, not only this podcast, but like what we're doing here is to show people that, yes, you can. Let's just do it together. And everyone is different. Everyone's, maybe you're better at singing. By the way, I'm terrible at singing. We need to, some say love.
If you do that, I'm going to start rapping.
Okay, we should stop. But the whole point is what I'm trying to get at is the comparison is a no. It is you. What can I do today to help me to tomorrow, and then the next day and next day? And it's little tiny baby steps. It's a small progression, and it's a slow turning of the wheel. But why why would, like, I just have always loved, I've always had a group of people somehow, some
That
way,
was my next question.
whether
Yes,
it's
your community
with something like this, the Fastaway family and the Fastaway community, whether it's my instructors, which I first did, my first mentor ever. I've had really probably 3 huge mentors in my life, and I still adore and love and talk to every one of them. But it's like, it's not that you're on it alone. You're being supported, but supported to go about it in your own story. And I think that's what people have to understand. Your story just shouldn't look like anyone else's. But I will tell you that some parts of each of our stories are exactly what someone needs to hear sometimes, and exactly what God can use to get you on to that next step. And it's not from here to finish, because we're not finished. It's like here to that next little step, and then the next little step, and the next little step.
Well, and hindsight is such a 2020. Looking towards your future now, right? Which is so unknown. What is it that okay, let's just say this. What do you want to be when you grow up?
No, gosh, I got to figure that out at some point.
Yeah.
Well, things have changed so much. So I think what I can say now is I don't want my fitness story to end, meaning I don't want my, I guess it's a career, but I love helping people. I love putting people through programs. I love letting them see not only physically, but maybe for a business standpoint. I loved doing that. I've done that, I have a 16-year-old business there. I have 2 small women's ministries that I love. And they're just such a cool, zero drama, zero judgment kind of people, which is all people I want, around me. I just am praying and hoping that this next season, because I'm a widow, and I'm a single mom, and all that is the worst things I've ever experienced. But the consistent things have been Jesus and fitness.
I love that.
But I'm deeply rooted in those. And I want for that story to continue, because I believe there's so many more years of this story.
Right.
Still being healthy, still helping other people. And I think that could be a lot of our stories, and we need to see that.
I think we need to just stop and pause and just remember that, but wait, there's more.
Well, what did I say to you? I'm ready for my second act.
I love this.
There was my first act.
Encore.
Right. I'm ready for my second act now.
The rose.
Yeah. Why do I sing the rose?
I don't know, but I love it. I would like to hear a little bit more Janis Joplin. Oh, but that's not. It's Bette Midler. Dang.
Wait, no, Janis Joplin sang it first.
She played.
Right? No, I think she sang. No, because she sang the rose, and Janis Joplin originally sang the rose.
But
excuse us.
Well, now I need to find out.
Oh,
because the name of the movie was The Rose.
But that's Janis Joplin's song
story
that
Bette Midler. Well, we are so happy to have just
stop. We should come to a close now.
But I'll tell you what, our bouquet is just going to continue to grow, right? And I think that's the biggest takeaway. Mindy, you are just so fun. And just having this light at the end of the tunnel that we all see through our faith, through our fitness, through our family is something that's so important. And we are just honored and just have had such a great time being with you today. We cannot wait to hear more about your story, because there's a lot more to dive into.
Yes.
But you have just been a delight.
Well, I'd love to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.